Hey friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, you know it does not work without you guys. I am so excited. It is literally, oh my goodness, it is literally getting closer and closer. It is Friday night. I did my live stream. I've been trolled to death by Eagle fans, but that's okay, man. That's okay. I love it because this is the buildup of the game. This is why we hate the offseason so much, because it's games like this. Now, it may end up being come Sunday night, I'm sad and crying. That's a possibility. It's always with football because football's unpredictable, but I'm okay with that. I'm ready for what's going to be. I'm looking forward. I'm wearing my great sweatsuit here. This is my new night coat to come out here, and hang out at the fire pit because of Miss Anita and Miss Jackie, and it's just I feel so much love from so many fans, and I appreciate it. And sadly, this week is going to come to an end. I've had fun with my boy Philly 500. Him and I going back and forth at each other and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. But in the end, somebody's going to have to lose the game. I'm hoping it won't be my Cowboys. Stephen Jones was talking about Dak about 5 hours or so ago. And he said that, Dak will be fine. He expects a lot from Dak Prescott, and he believes that he's going to have a great game. And I hope that that's the truth. That it's not just gamemanship. I'm hoping that that's the case. It was funny to me during the live stream. We have a lot of new people that are coming in because, they've seen me on other channels and stuff, so they're coming in and they're trolling. And I want you to understand something. I have moderators that do the blocking. I don't do the blocking and stuff in the live stream. Somebody had said, do you read the comments? I try and read as many as possible, but my set, I don't have a person that runs the cameras or the audio or all the stuff, the cameras and everything else. I'm a one-man show, and I try to read and interact with people as much as possible. I wish I had somebody who would actually just do that, so all I had to do was just read the comments and talk. But there's a lot that goes into doing this. I love doing it, and I'm always trying to do more and more and more, and sometimes maybe I've added too much because now there's so much to do that I don't have my roots, and that's just talking to you guys as much as I should. But we'll get there. One way or the other, we'll get there. But listening to Eagle fans, Carson Wentz is so much better than Dak Prescott. And it's funny how that goes because ultimately Dak and Carson Wentz will be tied forever. It's just like the 83 draft class of Jim Kelly and Dan Marino and Todd Blackledge and who am I forgetting? But those quarterbacks will always be tied together. And Dak, Goff, and Wentz will always be tied together because they're in the same class. But it amazes me how, no matter what happens with Dak Prescott, there's always a reason why it's not real. Have you noticed that? When Dak Prescott was throwing shorter passes, dink and dunk Dak, he's trash cut. He can't throw the ball downfield. That was it. You never heard them talk about any other quarterback about dinking and dunking except for Dak Prescott. Oh, look at Dak Prescott. His average pass is only like 6.9 or 7 yards per pass. He can't throw it down the field, right? We heard that. Then Dak starts throwing 8.4, 8.5 down the field. The dink and dunk number is no longer talked about, is it? But what's amazing is right now, Carson Wentz has worse yardage down the field than Dak Prescott has ever had. But here's the thing. When the Cowboys had the worst offensive weapons as rated by Pro Football Focus, and you know Skip. They watch a lot of football. They said Pro Football Focus rated the Dallas Cowboys offensive weapons 29th in the NFL. So when Dak Prescott wasn't having great numbers, they would say it's because he can't elevate the people around him. Franchise quarterbacks, they make people better around them. Dak's not a franchise quarterback. He can't elevate the garbage receivers that he has. He's not a franchise. Like Carson Wentz, who can put a team on his back, who doesn't have to have great players around. Because that's what we always heard. Dak Prescott has to have great players around him. It's funny. Now, well, of course Dak Prescott's throwing for all kinds. He's got all the receivers in the world. Nobody's looking at the fact that when Amari Cooper was with Derek Carr, his numbers were garbage. He came to with Dak, okay, because it's not like Amari Cooper was Amari Cooper like he is in Dallas when he was with the Raiders and Derek Carr, who, by the way, was an MVP candidate as well. And Randall Cobb, right now, leaving the bad man Aaron Rodgers, right now is averaging more yards per completion than he has in like 5 years. But nobody's saying that Dak Prescott is elevating those guys, because clearly those guys' numbers have been elevated from where they were recently, right? But they changed the narrative. Now, the new one is, oh, well, you can't count Dak Prescott's yards because he gets yards in garbage time. You know, when the score's out of, you know, they're way behind, and of course they're playing against soft zones, so you can't count his numbers. Are the Cowboys the only team that's ever been blown out? Because you could go through and say guys like Matty Ice, that all those games he's playing against soft zones because they're getting blown out every week. You could go through with a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame and say the same thing, that the team was getting blown out. And they were garbage yards. You could say Tony Romo, when we had 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, that a lot of those games we were getting blown out, his yards were garbage. They didn't ever say that about anybody else. So now, the only reason why Dak Prescott has more yards is he's got great receivers and he's getting in the garbage time. Carson Wentz, somebody said, was better because he's got nobody around. He's doing this with nobody. But I got to tell you, you can say that his receivers aren't that good. I'll give you that. But one thing you cannot say about Carson Wentz, that it's anybody else's fault other than Carson Wentz, is 44 fumbles. 14 this season. 14 fumbles. Can't blame that on the wide receivers dropping the ball. Can't say that, that's Dak Prescott. That's atrocious. But they don't talk about those kind of things. And the amazing thing is about the guys who came in and they're saying that we got the better quarterback. I don't ever recall Dallas Cowboy fans booing Dak Prescott like the Eagles did some 3-4 weeks ago when you're playing against Seattle. Carson Wentz had, I think, 2 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. And this past week against the Redskins, I think he fumbled the ball 3 or 4 times. But it's all good. This is, I will say, probably this one and last year's Cowboy game, the 2 biggest games for Carson Wentz. uh, you could say 2013, excuse me, 2017, the 13 games he played in, that he had big games, but the only one that was really a big one was the Rams. Last year, the game in Dallas, with their season kind of going downhill, that was his chance to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to take this from the Cowboys. Dak showed up in that game. This one, this is the season. Bottom line is the Eagles have to win. So it doesn't get any bigger than this except playoffs. Dak is wounded, injured. He's got most of his team. Carson Wentz is healthy. Got a lot of his people hurt. We'll see. But you know what'll happen. The Eagles win, great win. Cowboys stink and everything else. Carson Wentz, the greatest quarterback since Joe Montana. If the Cowboys win, well, it's not like they were playing a good team. Just playing the Eagles. And Carson Wentz, well, he didn't have anybody to throw to. Yeah. We know how that's going to go. Oh, well. Can't change it. But in the meantime, I am going to go in here, do some more work on the man cave. Looks like I'm going to have a house full for the game on Sunday. So I got a lot to do. So as always, friends, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I'll see you first thing in the morning. Oh, let me turn off the lights. This party is over.